Okay, so we are about to hear another speaker, David. So David, are you with us? Do you hear us and see us?
Indeed. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you all.
Great. So David is our next speaker, and he will probably continue the cool topics of this track trend, right? And you'll have some kind of cool findings. So I don't want to waste any more time of yours. So please, David, start.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Inga. And hello, everyone. Great to have you all on. My name is Dave, as you're all aware. I'm a project manager and Agile enthusiast. I've worked in consultancy, public sector, private, and I'm currently working in SaaS and e-com in the fashion industry. And I'm going to talk to you all today about retrospectives. Really passionate about retrospectives, especially themed retrospectives, which are a little bit of a variation on the traditional retrospective meetings that you might have seen. So what I'll do, I'll just share my screen. We'll make a start. I hope that this is coming through, but let me know if not. Is that okay for everyone? I hope so. Great, cool. So, a few topics to cover. I'm going to try and leave some time at the end for Q&A, so I'll be as quick as I can rattling through the material. A bit around the why theme and retrospectives is effective and what the benefits look like. Some tips and inspiration for some boards that you guys can put together, and then a bit of a Q&A towards the end, hopefully. So the first question I normally get is why create themed and engaging retrospectives? A lot of reasons. It helps to keep sessions fresh and fight the autopilot that can slip into these settings. I'm sure we've all been in daily scrums where we slip into that 3-question cadence and the sessions become repetitive. The same issues get talked about over and over, and we start to lose that buy-in from the team and good ideas stop coming through. Also helps to keep people connected and invested. The themed and engaging retrospectives can move your conversations out of that purely work-focused lane. We can open them up to more of the people element, build those connections within the team and harness stronger relationships. Also helps with more organic conversations. When we first moved to the remote model during the pandemic, I think we all felt that conversations dried up on Teams. Even having to operate the mute button effectively becomes difficult. It breaks up that natural flow of conversation. And personally, I'm striving to create different styles and formats. I've put together, I think, over 70 templates now. I really enjoy putting them together, but the more important thing is I love trialing them out, giving them a go with teams, and then seeing what the results look like. In all of my sessions, I build in some kind of feedback mechanism where I get a rating on what teams liked about the session and what they didn't. And that really helps me to keep pushing forward and improving the sessions and the discussion and the outputs, most importantly. So as I touched on, when we moved to virtual comms, there was a lot that was lost. In person, we've got cues like body language, expressions, richer shared context, shared physical spaces. And one thing a lot of people touch on is those side of desk chats that we get in the office that are sort of lost by going remote. It becomes a half-an-hour operation to pull someone for what was previously a 2-minute chat in passing. Typically, sessions that are in person, it's less easy to slip into that autopilot. You're getting a lot of eye contact. You're making sure that people are engaged, and as a facilitator, you can work your way around the room and get everyone's input. When we're on Teams, it's easy to turn the camera off and look at emails and other things. And the Zoom fatigue is becoming more and more prevalent, and it's part of the reason why the hybrid model, I believe, is becoming more and more popular. Well, most people, I believe, don't want to be in the office full time anymore, but equally there are benefits to being there some of the time, and this goes hand in hand with these engaging sessions and the richer shared context that we're all striving for. The other thing that I've noticed with retrospectives is when we start cutting corners in delivery mechanisms like Scrum, the retrospective is often the first thing that goes out the door. And I think that's really sad, because for me, the retrospective is sort of the cornerstone of continuous improvement. And that's, for me, the heart of Agile, continuously improving things, believing things can be better and trying to get there. the retrospective really is the cornerstone of that. And it's the session for me that has the highest intrinsic value for the team itself. One theme I'm sort of pressing on in my organization and wider on LinkedIn and other avenues at the minute is, if you want to take one step forward as a traditional project manager, adding retrospectives to your skill set and your delivery cadence is in my opinion, the best first step that you can take. It gives you that regular meeting to discuss how things are going, identify experiments, and settle into that nice continuous improvement habit and continue to inspect and adapt. Engagement's a really big thing now. We're working in that either hybrid model or fully remote. As I just said earlier, the similar meeting styles that we come in with can breed that bit of apathy. People switch off. It's really easy to turn your camera off in a remote session and just respond to a couple of pings. You're looking at emails and then someone says, Dave, what do you think of that? And then it's, sorry, I was distracted. I need to get a refresh on what we've just discussed. Really breaks that natural conversation cadence that we have when we're in person. That's the type of thing that I try to avoid in these sessions. I really want to get a lot of buy-in from the team, have them fully engaged with the content, the subject matter, and create that more natural flow of conversation and development of ideas. The other bit I really like about these sessions is it injects a bit of creativity and fun. I'm a firm believer that work can be fun. You can enjoy what you do, and you can inject a lot of your personality into the work that you're doing. By doing that, I've noticed that the teams that I work with, they really respond well to that injection of creativity. And it really does help to break that monotony of what did you do yesterday, what did you do today, what are the blockers? We're moving towards something that's more like that natural conversation between colleagues in person, where we're just having a bit of a check-in. We have a bit of a framework for the conversation, but it's open to other avenues. It's open to other things. It helps to build that human-to-human connection, which for me is the foundation of building trust within your teams. And when the trust's high, the results sort of naturally follow. Injecting this element also serves as a bit of a foundation for some other benefits that I'll go over as we go through. But first of all, the one I've touched on is building empathy. And the mechanism that I love to use for building empathy within teams is icebreakers. At the start of most of my sessions, I'll build in some type of icebreaker element, just so we can get a feel for each other, especially with teams that haven't worked together before or don't work together day to day. This is great to do a bit of a temperature check with your team, feel out some of the personalities, and as a facilitator, you can sort of start to get a feel for who in the conversation might need space and time to come up with their ideas, who the outgoing extroverted people are who may have a tendency to dominate. And you can sort of then adjust your facilitation style by sort of, I suppose, vicariously getting a feel for what the personalities are like in the room. So some of the ones that I use are this or that. So are you a cat or a dog person? Do you prefer pizza or burgers? Is Messi or Ronaldo the best player in the world? Scaling and scoring. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that we are doing the right thing on XYZ issues? Visual cues are great. So if I do a themed session around a TV show or a movie, I'll take a collection of characters from that TV show or movie. I'll put them up on a board and say, why don't you tell me which character you feel best reflects our performance over the past 2 to 3 weeks? That's a really open-ended one and really helps you to draw out some of the more free-form and conversational type themes that you can then build into that session, and you can then have a hand in steering the conversation in the way that's going to be most effective for the team to get their outputs that they're looking for. I'm a huge advocate for creativity in the sessions, and even something as simple as asking questions differently helps to break that monotony. I think I've talked about it quite a bit so far, but even things like the 3-question approach to the daily stand-up, I'll often make a point of not using those, just so we've got a lot hanging in the air that teams can grab onto. So instead of what did you do yesterday, what did you do today, what are the blockers, I'll say something like, what's the number one thing that I or the team could do for you today to make your life easier? what's the most important thing that you want to do today to contribute to the team's success? Just giving the team a lot to latch onto and giving them something different to think about helps to engage the creativity in them and get them thinking more actively instead of being that participant that dials it in. Psychological safety is a huge theme now in Agile. I'm sure everyone's got a sort of checkbox in their head now around psychological safety within the team and harnessing an environment that promotes that. What I found with these sessions is moving to more gamified dynamics, allowing team members to assume a role in the conversation, take on a character's persona, abstracting what their input is to the session away from just them, really helps to increase the level of openness and allows them to maybe say things that they wouldn't say if we were going to assign the input to them. But if we're assigning the input to a character that they, or a role that they're assuming for that session, we can get a lot more candor in the sessions. We can cut to the heart of some of the deeper questions. And as I touched on earlier, this leads to increased openness within the team, which trust follows naturally from that. Strengthened relationships is another great output I see from these sessions. As I've touched on, it opens up that water cooler style conversation that we've lost by going remote. It's harder to have those sort of 2-minute check-ins with team members, ask them how their weekend was, what they've got planned, how the family, the pets, all sorts of that good stuff. These type of sessions really lend themselves to opening up that avenue. And this is really where the trust is built within teams. A lot of Simon Sinek's work focuses on this, that trust between teams isn't built by talking about the A to B to C of the day-to-day workload. The trust is built when we understand each other as people, we have an appreciation of each other, and the relationships go from strength to strength as that builds. The other thing for me is this allows the relationships to grow more organically. One sort of, I don't know if I'd call it an anti-pattern, but one thing I've seen when facilitators start toying around with these is it becomes a state of, we are going to have some mandatory fun on this session. I try and steer away from that. I hope that there's an element of fun in the sessions that I deliver, but really I want the conversation, the issues that are brought, the engagement to be more organic and not a bit of a crack in the whip scenario. Selecting a theme. Your imagination is your only limit. I've seen themes on absolutely everything, and I'll go over some of the popular mechanisms next. But as I've touched on with the psychological safety element, immersing the team in a different experience for a little while really has some tangible benefits, especially in terms of session engagement. One criticism I do see quite a lot is, do they always have to be nerdy? The reason I started toying with these was because I'd sort of seen a similar theme. A lot of Agile coaches, Scrum masters, delivery professionals I'd seen tailoring their sessions. A lot of it was around stuff that maybe didn't resonate with me. So I kicked things off with sports themed retrospectives. I did one on Sunderland AFC, which is the football team I follow in the UK. A lifetime of war for anyone that wants to join me. But I've done all sorts of sports, NBA, golf, cricket, tennis, all sorts. Really, your imagination is your only limit here. You can build your session, frame it with whatever subject or context matter that you want to go with. The other thing that I really like is allowing the team to select the theme, and rotating facilitation duties within the team isn't something that's new. I know a lot of teams have rotated responsibility for facilitation in the daily Scrum and retrospectives before, but also allowing a team member to select a theme that they want to deliver around, something that resonates with them. Again, it increases the level of human connection that we've got within the teams, increases the openness, increases the trust, which are all good things and all a net benefit within your team. A lot of popular mechanisms that I've seen. So selecting themes, characters are a big one. So if I'm doing a retrospective theme around a movie, a TV series, a book, characters are great to build around. Quotes, lines, and lyrics, if we're looking at musical retrospectives, if we're looking at, again, plays, books, movies, TV series, these are a really rich vein. existing rules and mechanisms. So I've done retrospectives around things like video game dynamics. So things like FIFA Ultimate Team, where there's an element of gamification in the session. The questions are derived by which players the team picks. Those type of things are also really, really effective, especially if you've got people in the team who already are part of that either sports gaming world. And topical and event driven. At the minute, you may on LinkedIn be seeing quite a lot of Halloween retrospectives. We saw them earlier in the year around the time of the Queen's Jubilee, Christmas, Easter. All these types of things can be an influence and can act as a bit of inspiration for you to toy around with these and put something together that you think the team would respond to. The first step I always advise is try remixing a previous format. This is a fairly popular template for retrospectives. I like I Wish I Wonder. And I hope you can see, but I've sort of put a Bruno Mars spin on that, using some of his musical lyrics, some images, just to freshen up the session slightly. You'll be surprised how the team responds to, instead of what was good, what was bad, what would you change? Let's look at this through the Bruno Mars lens, through the English Premier League lens, through Formula One, especially if you've got fans in the team, and especially if the team have a hand in selecting them, the engagement just goes through the roof. After that, we're going to look at creating something new. So I've got a couple of examples here. This is a Star Wars retrospective that I put together for a team who were watching, I think it was the Obi-Wan Kenobi series at the time, or maybe the Mandalorian. As you can see, we've built in an icebreaker here where the team puts together a lightsaber icon, plots that against a scale for how they're feeling our previous sprint went, some tickets and prompts around Star Wars characters, gathering feedback from the team, and then a rating for how the team feel the session went. Building in that rating system, really important to me as I want to continue to improve and refine what I'm doing. And just another example, a golf one. We've got an icebreaker where you place a golf ball where you feel is appropriate based on the sprint. Were we in the water? Was it really poor? Did we get close but we're in the bunker? Are we on the green? Was it really good? Prompts around the rules of the game. You could also take popular players and a rating for the retro game, placing a golf ball where we feel was brilliant or poor. Tons of places to go for inspiration. Miroverse is a really popular one. Mural has a community library, and Boardle.io, all great for you to just go on there and outsource the work of creating these. You can go on, have a look, see if there's any that you like the look of, take it back to your team and give it a whirl. I've also got my link tree where I've got all sorts of different theme retrospectives. Really encourage you to check it out. And if there's one that I haven't done that you want me to do, drop me a message. Love getting feedback and love taking on different challenges with other themes that people have got in mind. Sort of the final point for me, look at this through an Agile lens and run an experiment for you and your teams. A little bit of that creativity and input goes a really long way in terms of getting the team to engage with these sessions. I also really encourage building in that rating mechanism towards the end. Make sure that you get some feedback from the team so you understand either what they liked, what they didn't like, then adjust your approach from there. Use that lovely TIA cycle that we use in Scrum on your sessions themselves. Crowdsourcing themes, when the team have a hand in selecting what they're doing, the engagement also grows. And the final point for me is a bit of a quote from the Scrum Guide, that the purpose of the sprint retro is to plan ways to increase quality and effectiveness. And you can sort of be the author of what those ways look like. And this could be a rich avenue for you and your teams to continue to explore. And I think I'm just about on time, maybe a minute or two. Apologies if that was fairly whistle-stop and fast-paced, but if we've got time, happy to take any questions. But Inga, I suppose it's over to you.
I don't see any written yet, but I know that we have probably Carlos. Are you still here? No, Carlos is not here, but I can just share one. Like we have one Lithuanian guy, Scrum Master, and like he's doing retros and he's going out somewhere. So Lithuanians know. So he was doing retro in Kernavė, like on the hills, like in the nature. So that's really cool. The kind of different perspective. So they're going somewhere out always. Yeah. And I always remember this when my team complains that we are doing retros in a style of Three Little Pigs. And they want this theme, but at the same time they complain. So
interesting. Getting out and about, I think being up in nature, walking around, that could also help increase the creativity. Yeah, really interesting.
Yeah, true. Anybody wants to ask something? You can unmute yourself also, if you are brave enough. Do I need to give presents to everybody to ask? Okay. I think it was kind of crystal clear. So thank you, David, so much.